episode 70 of the Junto Podcast. Welcome to the Junto Podcast, or welcome back. And today we're kind of diving off into a little bit of a heavier topic. So many people, I don't know, it's probably because of the podcast and probably because people know I'm in ministry, but I have so many people that often come up to me and they just begin to open up unwarranted. I don't really ask them to do that, but they just seem to open up, and it feels like there's been something going on just in people's lives. Maybe people don't want to talk about it, and that is the topic of depression. So today on episode 70, going a little bit deeper, but we're going to talk about 10 signs that you might, or 10 signs maybe of being depressed, I guess. So what do you think about that? 10 signs, depression. Like I said, people are always kind of, I know they come to you too, and I think this podcast kind of lets people know that maybe we're a safe spot to talk about these kind of deeper subjects. So what do you think?
Yeah, I don't think anyone is immune to depression. I think it can hit each and every one of us at different times in our lives, different seasons. So I think it's good to talk about it and become aware of those signs of depression so that we can see it for what it is and understand and treat, fix,
Yeah, that's right.
Help steer us in the right direction. So,
and like you said, no one is immune to depression, even if it's seasonal. Others, I think there might be degrees of depression that we or people deal with, but no one is immune to it. And there are seasons where you might be affected by depression, but I think it needs to be talked about. I think maybe the word normalized is the correct word here, but nonetheless, we want to make sure that people are talking about it, or at least listening and maybe recognizing some signs in their own life. Now, ultimately, the Junto Podcast is a podcast where all things we talk about always come back to a perspective of faith. So I have a couple of scriptures as well, just comforting scriptures for those who might be experiencing depression right now. And with that, we're going to not take a long time to set this up, but we're going to jump right in. And today's article is from Psych Central. Now, I have a passion for psychology. In fact, we saw Jordan Peterson last week in Little Rock, and we're going to eventually break that down on the podcast, some of the things he talked about, but very, very relevant. And I know this. I know from a universal standpoint, people are hurting. They're hurting and they're searching, and they need some comfort. And hopefully these 10 signs will maybe allow you to be introspective or allow you to get the help that you need. And most importantly, allow you to know that it's okay. It is okay, and that you're not alone. So,
yeah, definitely even helping others, seeing those signs if someone doesn't see it in their own life or understand.
That's good. Yeah.
Being equipped enough to see the signs and help someone out.
Yeah, that's really good.
We always say that we're here together podcast. We're here for each other.
That's
so
right.
We have to do this thing together. So let's equip ourselves so that we can be a help to someone.
That's it.
We can share in this thing called life. So
yeah, awesome.
Leading into, just wanted to comment on a few things here first before we go into those 10 signs. If you have depression, you may feel despair that prevents you from enjoying activities that you once liked, have trouble sleeping, or find it hard to make decisions. Wow. You can also experience physical symptoms like fatigue. You're like, what is going on?
Yeah.
It's like something you can't put your finger on it, but there's a cloud. I think you even expressed those feelings before. There's just a cloud. Even though things are fine, it seems like I should be happy.
Right.
Everything in my life is great, but there's just something's off. Something's weird.
100%. Yeah, and if you never experienced depression, it's one of those things, because I had this mindset previously in my life until I went through a short season of depression. But you think, well, can't you just make yourself feel better?
Right.
And the answer is no, you can't. There might not be a single thing that you could put your finger on that you can go, oh, well, this is why I'm depressed. You just know that something is off, something isn't right. So you're not alone. I've walked through that. Thank God it's only been one time in my life where I can say that I went through a short season of depression, but that really opened my eyes. And that's why we focus a lot of our conversations around these types of topics. First, I just have a passion, I think we both do, for psychology and mental health and talking about this stuff. But two, we want to be a resource that you can come back to. Maybe you're in that season right now and you need some encouragement. We want to be that resource for you, at least one of the resources that you can, hit play and find some quick encouragement, and hopefully some information too about what you're going through. So
yeah, people want to know that they're not alone in their feelings, and they want to know why. And I think that sometimes God allows us to go through those things, like with you with that depression. You would have, like you said, you were like, just talk yourself out of it. How come, depressed people can't just say, okay, I'm going to be happy today and everything's going to be fine. But that's not the way that works. And so I think you were able to go through that to see that this is a real thing, and perhaps to use, your message, turn your mess into a message, so to speak, situation.
That's right.
So
that's right. Everything, God can use any and everything that we've ever gone through or will go through for His glory and for someone else's benefit. So always remember that if you've gone through that, hey, you might be the blessing that someone else is looking for. And again, at the Together podcast, that's what we try to do, is just be an encouragement and be real. Let's do life together. So
that's right.
Good stuff.
Yeah. Even though more than 264 million people around the world live with depression, live with depression.
Goodness.
It can look different from person to person. It can sometimes be challenging to diagnose, since people experience different symptoms and different types of depression.
But
if you're feeling down, knowing the common signs and effects of depression can help you figure out if you're experiencing something more than a brief case of the blues. We all go through days, weeks, whatever, like, oh, this has been a terrible day.
Yeah.
This and happened, and I just feel like crap,
Yeah.
I'm ugly. I don't like my clothes. I don't like my outfit. So-and-so said this to me. She really ticked me off.
Right.
So I'm just, all up in my head and in my feels. We all get the blues. This is a different, there's a difference, and we're going to go into those symptoms. That way we can be aware. Awareness is key.
That's
for
it.
Sure.
That's right.
Step number one.
Well, good deal.
Yep.
Well, this article from Psych Central will give us 10 signs, potential signs that people who are depressed typically go through. And we're going to jump right in. So the first sign that you might have if you are experiencing depression is persistent low mood. Mm-hmm. Many of us feel down from time to time, but when this feeling just won't go away, it may mean that you're experiencing depression. You might feel like you're continually out of sorts. It is also common for anxiety symptoms to occur alongside depression, as well as feelings of impending doom. Gosh.
Yeah.
Just going back, just reading those words and remembering that's exactly how I felt, like impending doom. You can't be at ease. There's just something, you're living in a constant state of tension, which of course, tension is going to work on your mind. Your mind is going to trigger anxiety. As a result, you're going to go into an anxiety attack, which is your body's response to what your mind is doing, which is crazy. Everything, it's all related. It's all related. And that's why we stress mind, body, and spirit. You have to be healthy in all three of those.
Yeah, I remember the conversations that we had when you were going through that, and just saying, I don't know, I can't shake it. We would try to distract, or let's get out of the house. Let's go do something as a family. Let's do this. And like, okay, yeah, it's good, but there's still that feeling just that it's just not going to go away. I need something else. Something else is going on. Just to remember that time. And
that's a bad feeling. Yeah,
right.
It's a bad feeling. So. Yeah, persistent low mood.
Yeah,
is
low
an indicator.
mood, feeling numb, maybe.
Right.
Like, something happens to you, whether good or bad. It's just like I don't have any emotion to it. Like I have no emotional reaction to it.
Right.
Just numbness.
Very true.
Number 2, loss of interest or pleasure in things you once enjoyed.
Wow, that sucks.
So if you find yourself saying, "What's the point? Why bother? What for? What is it? Who cares?" This might describe your mood. You may have a few weeks of this, like work, social activities, stuff that you typically enjoy. And it's like, it's pointless. Why?
Yeah.
If you're a person who likes DIY type stuff, typically, and then you just suddenly lose interest, you're like, I don't care. It's too much trouble. Like what does it matter? You might find it challenging to muster up the energy to do them, or just have no desire for that.
Yeah. And
that's another sign.
It does. It's stuff that you love to do and that's part of your life, and then to no longer have an interest or motivation to do any of those things. And like you mentioned, there are times where we're all not going to be motivated or not feel like doing something, but true depression, it's a deeper, it's
lingering.
Yes,
it lingers.
It's not only lingering, but it feels, I don't know, it just feels deep. It feels, it just feels different. There are many, many times where I'm not motivated, right? But being motivated or not having motivation because of depression, it's totally different. There's a totally different feel. Life, honestly, when you're depressed, just doesn't feel the same. And I really empathize and have compassion for people who are feeling that, because I want you to think about all the things you love and enjoy about life, and then imagine still having all of those things around you, but you not being able to feel towards those things what you have felt. And it's devastating. It's heartbreaking. Honestly, it really is.
Yeah. But there's hope. There's hope.
100%.
There's ways
Absolutely.
through this. So number 3, feelings of guilt, hopelessness, or worthlessness.
Yeah, wow.
Many people with depression can feel overwhelming guilt about past actions or events, like you just play it over and over in your mind. Even feel guilty about being depressed. That's a terrible circle to be in. You might also experience low self-esteem, self-loathing. Like we said, the hopelessness, like there's nothing you can do to feel better. Like absolutely doesn't matter. Yeah.
Goodness gracious. And, people are looking for meaning in life. I'm thinking about just seeing Jordan Peterson live and just listen to a great mind, whether, this is outside of politics. I mean, it doesn't matter, just to hear from a great mind and how brilliant and how significant the mind and understanding psychological phenomena, how important it really is, and how most importantly, how deeply tied spiritually that is to us, because we are spiritual beings. We're human beings, but we're also spiritual beings. So, a lot of this stuff, man, it just takes me back to how important it is, and then recognizing these symptoms. I can't imagine, feelings of guilt, hopelessness, or worthlessness. That's a bad place to be in. Very bad place.
Yeah, you talked about our physical beings, these physical bodies, flesh suits as we call them, sometimes feel pain and hurt. But ultimately, we are spiritual beings having an earthly experience.
Right.
And so remembering that, especially when the signs of depression are evident in your life or someone that you love, just remembering, okay, this isn't our final place. This isn't our final location. Let's just put things in perspective and remember that we're here for a short time, and that all things through Christ. I mean, that's where our strength and hope comes from. So that has to be part of the healing, part of the awareness, part of the whole process.
That's it. And people are like, I think they run away from faith. I don't know. Many people have so many views about faith.
Well, they think it's cliche. Okay.
It's cliche. I think it's just about religion, but it's not. It's so much deeper. And having the comfort and knowledge of that in moments, in low seasons like this, it's absolutely crucial, man. It's a game changer, and it gives you hope that you would not otherwise have if it just transcends all the cliche things that many non-believers might have, and even some believers, so crazy stuff.
Yeah,
so
folks hear others say, "Oh, my hope is in Jesus. My hope is in." But unless you really have true relationship, you don't understand that that's, yes, it's words. Yes, we say it. Christians say it all the time, but with the meaning behind it.
Yeah.
The essence of it.
Yeah, that's right.
That's the importance of it.
Exactly.
So, number 4.
Number 4 is a big one. When
you do that one.
Okay. Number 4, And husbands, y'all gonna think all your wives are depressed. No, I'm
exactly.
Kidding. I'm kidding.
Right. Yes.
So number 4 is loss of sex drive. When you're depressed, your desire for sex may wane. You may start to wonder what happened to your sex drive. This can lead to more guilty feelings, especially if your partner is having difficulty understanding why you no longer want this type of intimacy. And check this out. According to a 2018 study, difficulties with sexual function are a common but underreported sign of depression. The researchers found that 62.5% of the men who participated have problems with sexual functioning. So I'll say this, as I'm getting older, oh gosh, how transparent am I going to be here? I'll just say, as you get older and you realize things do begin to change and your body may not be the same, you realize how important those times of intimacy really are, because you know it's only a temporary thing, right? Unfortunately, and I was going to say this because this was on my mind too. I think specifically encounters that I've had with aging guys, man, it's very hard on a man. That's a big part of what they feel like their manhood is, and for that to begin to fade away, it plays a lot on the mind. So I would just say, ladies, have a little compassion, empathy. It's kind of a hard and sad process to watch a guy age and have things that once were, a certain way no longer be that way. Not that I'm there yet, thank God, but I can just see it, and the conversations that I've had, and even observations that I've had in guys. I know that's a big part, and that's a big pill to swallow with aging. So, yeah.
Right. And in terms of depression, talking
Yes.
about that, not just
Correct.
older age, but in terms of depression.
Correct.
There are different levels of intimacy as well. So remembering maybe in those moments where the sex aspect of intimacy may not be where it used to be or where you want it to be, but they're just remembering there are other forms of intimacy and companionship, and showing that emotion in a different way, even if physically in that season you're not able to get there.
Yeah.
So to speak, there are other ways of having that intimate relationship and fostering that through the hard moments and the hard times in life, through this depression, and realizing, okay, we can do this. We can, hopefully this is just a temporary thing and we can get out of this. And then if not, in the older age, like you talked about, remembering those other types of intimacy as well. Well, that life is not over.
And I would say, those other types of intimacy need to be fostered, like, before you even get to that point where your body, you know what I'm saying? Like, you need to experience all of those types of intimacy, not just in times where your sex drive is low, but really it needs to be, especially we're talking about married couples here, that needs to be part of what you do and part of
the marriage process.
Exactly,
that's as you learn and grow together. You discover new things about each other, and you can't only rely on the physical aspect of relationship, because, as you said, that's waning. That's not always going to be the same. That's not always going to be there. It's like when you first meet someone and the butterflies are there and you're dating and it's awesome. And hey, guess what? Those butterflies sometimes fly away.
Fly away.
They're going to fly away eventually.
Yeah, they do.
Having
and the crows come in instead. The butterflies fly away and the crows come in. Hallelujah. No.
Realizing that there are different aspects of your relationship where that intimacy has to be fostered and not based on physical only. I think a lot of divorces, I don't know, this is just my opinion, may occur because people forget that.
Yeah, 100%.
That it's not all about just the intimacy, and sometimes we can be like, well, this person, me and him, are intimate. It wasn't there, so I'm gonna find another soulmate.
Those are selfish reasons.
That's yes.
A biblical marriage is a marriage of covenant, and covenant is a promise, but it's a godly promise. It's a promise sealed by the authority of God, and those things are not things you just break. And so,
because of your flavor has changed, or your,
And I know that's going into another subject, but it's things to be aware of. So, guys, girls, depression, just know if you're experiencing the lack of the sex drive, try to incorporate other ways to be intimate.
As a spouse helping when your spouse, your other half, or in relationship, you notice that this depression is happening in this situation, being there for them and recognizing, helping to remind of these things and foster relationship.
Number 5. What do you got number 5 for us?
Decreased energy, fatigue, or feeling slowed down.
Yes.
Most people think of the mental and emotional symptoms of depression, but it can cause physical symptoms too, just like lack of sex drive. These physical symptoms often mimic other health conditions. Many people may experience low energy and fatigue. It can be a bone-tired feeling that just won't go away despite getting enough sleep.
Wow.
You hear a lot of times depressed people, they sleep a lot. They're in the bed a lot. It's hard for them to get out of the bed. And it goes back to that, well, what does it matter?
What is the point of getting up?
Your motivation? So if you're depressed, you might also feel like everything is happening in slow motion. Yet you still can't keep up because overwhelming mental and physical exhaustion.
Wow. It's tough.
Goodness. If you experience catatonia with the depression, you may feel stuck, like paralyzed, being paused.
Gosh, now
Goodness,
that I have
not able to move forward.
That's wild.
In life.
Goodness.
It's kind of like that wall that we've talked about before. You hit that wall where you're just kind of stuck in the moment and can't get over it.
Wow. It happens, man. Number 6, difficulty concentrating, remembering, or making decisions. Your ability to focus can become impaired. When depression arises, you may feel like you have never-ending brain fog or worry you're losing your ability to think straight. Gosh, and I'm thinking about this.
I have that right now.
As these things are happening, it can really play on your mind because you're constantly going, what's wrong with me? And then your state of anxiousness is rising. Right. You're just like, it's a never-ending cycle.
It is.
It's terrible,
man. It's a tough cycle. Yeah. It is. That's why it's so important to have community, folks who know you and can help you and recognize this, man.
That's right.
We got to help each other.
That's why we're here. We're here at the Together podcast, the Junto podcast. Let's do life together.
Yes. I have trouble making simple decisions. Like, I feel like we're always about, what do you want to eat?
Gosh, that's the worst.
Yeah.
I think that's
and then to take it to a deeper level,
Lord, gosh, help. I know. It's terrible.
It's just bad. Number 7, trouble sleeping.
Number 7.
Depression can cause your sleep habits to change radically. For example, you may develop insomnia.
Oh, gosh, that would suck.
Might be unable to fall asleep as easily as you once did, or wake up exceptionally early when you used to be a late riser. Sleep could be disrupted, causing you to wake up throughout the night.
Wow. Goodness. That's terrible. And as you know, if you have insomnia or if you have repetitive nights without sleep, man, when I tell you that can wreak havoc on your mind. I've had people come to me seeing things, hearing voices, and you know, they're telling me they haven't slept in 3 nights. Well, guys, man,
it does something to you. It's real.
It is very, very devastating. It has a devastating effect on the body. So, gosh, I just feel for those who aren't sleeping. And believe it or not, there are people who go days without sleeping. Yeah. Gosh.
I think back to those times when we had little brand new babies, and that's a season in life. I'm not saying it's, depression, but lack of sleep really takes a toll on you physically, mentally, emotionally, the whole thing.
Right.
So sleep is very important.
Man, very important.
I remember having some crazy thoughts.
Oh, Lord.
Probably about you.
I was going to you took the words right out of my mouth. I was going to say probably about me.
We had little babies and then my lack of sleep. Oh, gosh.
Who knows what you envisioned looking at me while I'm sleeping. You're like, I will.
Wish I could get up and go to work.
Exactly. Oh, my gosh.
kidding.
Crazy stuff. Number 8, changes to appetite or weight. Depression can commonly cause changes to your weight and eating habits. Some people might have increased appetite while others lose all desire for food. You may also gain or lose weight without trying. Very interesting there. Yeah.
Another sign to help us visibly recognize that in others or ourselves.
If they've had drastic or real quick. Now, we're not talking about being on Ozempic or Mounjaro. Okay, that was Dennis the Menace. I'm sorry. But it's like everybody on the shot these days, but that's a whole nother topic. But yes, if you notice somebody's experiencing some of these other symptoms along with the rapid
putting all the pieces
weight,
together.
Exactly.
Yes,
that could be a sign that something's going on.
Yes.
And just check on your people, man.
Yeah.
Check on your people.
I mean, any one of these symptoms we can all experience at any time.
Yeah.
Daily, weekly, whatever.
Yeah.
But putting all the pieces together, knowing your people, knowing yourself, having most, if not all, of these symptoms together at the same time,
right,
definitely could be a sign of a deeper issue.
Yeah, 100%.
Number 9, restlessness or irritability.
Goodness
Having
gracious.
depression is exhausting for the mind and body. You can develop a low tolerance for other people's behaviors, becoming irritable or short-tempered. You may sometimes lash out at loved ones unexpectedly, and then afterward feel guilty for doing so.
Wow.
You can also feel restless when depressed. This might lead you to jump from one thought or action to another. You could be restless and not even notice it.
Goodness, restless or irritable, and gosh, crazy stuff. So many little signs there that we just need to observe, and obviously we can't notice everything in everyone, but the people closest to us, we can examine those behaviors, and sometimes all it takes is, hey, are you okay? You know, is there anything I can do? Do you want to talk about anything? And sometimes you're going to get a response, and sometimes you're not. But we check on our people nonetheless, and we be a listening ear, if nothing else, really there. And I would say this too. Just try to be empathetic. If you have not experienced depression, it's probably something you're not going to understand, because I didn't. And thank God my stint was very short-lived, but nonetheless, I knew when it happened to me. I knew when I had it. And my naive thinking about it was always, well, can't you just make yourself feel better? Why are you stuck in a cloud?
Right.
And I think it's a very naive way of thinking about that. So again, bodies and minds, we're all complex. The body and mind is so complex, and emotions play into things, and maybe it's just a chemical imbalance. Maybe it's something that can only be fixed by medication, which don't be ashamed of that. You know, if you have to see a doctor and be on medications for a while, certainly, you know, that's going to be between you and a physician who can speak more into that, but don't be ashamed if that's you. Sometimes it's only for a temporary basis, and other times it might be for an extended period of time, but nonetheless, I believe God can use all of those things to bring us healing. So,
yeah, true stuff.
Amen.
Very good. And the last
but not least, which most important, go ahead.
Suicidal thoughts or attempts. If you're depressed, you may start to have thoughts about not wanting to be alive anymore. This is a serious symptom that means it's time to seek help.
Yes. Wow.
Call someone. Tell someone. Suicidal ideation is when someone ruminates on ending their life. This might look like drawing or writing about suicide, closing social media accounts in one sitting, giving away keepsake photos, rainy day funds. If you notice signs of suicide risk, you can contact a hotline for support day or night. And we can actually put that link in that number. We
can, absolutely.
Suicide Prevention Lifeline.
Absolutely.
Comments.
So absolutely. So know you're not alone. Know that there are resources and help, and God is always just a prayer away. The Word of God is always available. And speaking of which, Isaiah 41:10 says, "Fear not, for I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you. I will help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand." In your depression, you feel like you can't hang on to God. It's like you're weak and helpless, unable to do anything. Sometimes you can't even get out of bed. good news. You don't have to hold on to God because he is holding on to you. When you fall, he will uphold you with his righteous right hand. When you are weak, he will strengthen you. The reality is you are weak. You're just feeling it more acutely now. Take heart because God loves to sustain the weak. And take heart in that you're not alone. I know these were quick. I know these were 10 quick signs of depression. I hope you got something out of that. Remember, you can always visit us at juntopodcast.com. We're actually looking to do some things live weekly, kind of on mental health, on depression. So stay tuned for a little bit more information. We're looking at doing something that's called maybe Mental Health Mondays or something like that, where we can kind of go live on Facebook or YouTube and just kind of create another avenue to have these types of discussions. So any closing thoughts, Heather?
Yes, if you're having these feelings, if you need someone to talk to, reach out to us. We're here. Reach out to someone. Don't do it alone.
That's it. Well, we appreciate you joining us on the Junto Podcast, on the Together Podcast. And we'll see you next time. Be blessed.